So you want to buy a bass guitar, but you're not sure if you want an active or a passive bass. Today we're comparing pros and cons of both so you can make the right choice. The only real major difference between an active and a passive bass are the pickups. Bass pickups can be split into two categories, passive and active. The difference between passive pickups and active pickups is active ones use a battery-powered preamp, while passive pickups do not. Each type has its own sound, advantages and disadvantages. Passive basses like the Fender Precision or the Rickenbacker 4001 are normally associated with classic rock music, blues, Motown, and generally a more traditional and vintage sound. Their passive pickups produce a warm and round tone, which is normally adjusted with a tone knob, which can only cut frequencies. You roll off your tone, you cut out some treble, that's it. Active pickups allow you to shape your tone much more than a comparable passive bass. Active basses normally have more tone knobs, allowing you to equalize each pickup and therefore produce much more variety of tones. The tone itself is quite different from passive basses. You can go from a very round and boomy tone to snappy and trebly. The tone controls on an active bass allow you to boost frequencies too, giving you much more flexibility. Many active basses have 3 or even 4 band EQs, letting you select specific frequencies to shape your tone before your signal even gets to your amplifier. Several Yamaha basses, for example, like the BB700 and TRB-X600, are equipped with 3 band EQ and an active-passive electronics. You might think that better managing your frequency means automatically better tone, but it's not always the case. With a passive bass, you're guaranteed to have your tone regardless of the amp. With an active bass, it's way easier to fuck it up. For example, adding too much treble, resulting in a clanky and weak tone. Passive basses on top have easier mechanics. They feature a simpler construction, they are more solid, and it's very unlikely that something can go wrong with them. An active bass, on the other hand, has a more elaborate electronic component, so there are many more elements that can break down or cause trouble. As previously mentioned, active basses need batteries to work. Normally it's a 1.9V battery, but it can also be 2, like my Schecter Stiletto Studio 4. Trouble is that when the battery dies out, so does your bass. Most basses have no indicator to let you know that the battery is dying, so it will just stop working out of the blue in the middle of a song without any warning. I can't get my head around the fact that it's 2025 and still we are unable to tell when our battery is about to die. Also, changing battery might not be as immediate. Piece of cake on my Yamaha BB, a pain in the ass on the Schecter. If you use this for live shows, you gotta have a backup, and it better be also active. Active basses have a way louder signal compared to passive ones, to the point that most bass amps have an active-passive selector. Make sure you have it on if you're using active, as a too loud input signal can damage your amp. Overall, passive basses have way less options, but also way less problems. Look at the bridge system of the Schecter. You need a PhD to know how to change strings, while on the P-bass, it's way easier. Active basses are also generally easier to play. In my experience, to get a good crunchy tone out of a jazz or a P-bass, you really need to hit them hard. On an active bass, a gentle touch can produce a really strong attack, so you get the same result with less effort. Aesthetics should also play a part in your decision. Passive basses, like the classic Fender Jazz, Precision, Rick, and so on, are normally associated with more classic music genres, especially rock. It's hard to see a modern metal band rocking a jazz bass. On the other hand, when you walk into a room and see a P-bass with an Ampeg, you're pretty much sure you're gonna hear some old school rock music. One final consideration: as passive basses tend to get most of their tone from wood, they do get better and acquire value with age. As you surely know, on the other hand, electronics tend to get fucked up over time, so an active bass will definitely have more problems as the years go by compared to a passive bass, which will also become more valuable. If you leave a passive bass sitting and never touch it for 20 years, chances are when you pick it up again, it will sound better than ever. But if you do the same with an active bass, chances are it won't work at all. I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.